Hey everyone, Hassan here. You are listening to the Nintendo Fuse podcast. Today is December 8th, 2015. This is episode number 122 entitled Best of 2015. Today here to discuss the best games from Nintendo, we have Steve.
Hey everyone, cheers.
He's got that awesome looking Nintendo mug there. We got Greg here as well.
Hi everyone, I'll get my 3DS.
There we go. And Barry. There you go. All right, Pac-Man, Smash Brothers, it all connects. It counts. And I got my Luigi t-shirt on too. So we're all repping Nintendo in some sort of fashion here. So this is going to be really cool. I'm excited about this. I'm always excited every year. We always recap the best games of the year. We give our top picks for the Nintendo systems, and we crown our own game of the year. So that's going to be really fun. And the cool part about this podcast is we like to make it interactive. We want to know what you guys pick as well. So as we're going to go through these topics, we want you to chime in and let us know what your favorites are as well. So you can do that a couple different ways, and the details are on NintendoFuse.com right now. Basically, there's TalkShoe, where you can actually call into the podcast live, and almost like a little radio show. It's kind of cool. And then we're streaming live on YouTube as well on the Nintendo Fuse channel on YouTube.
In fact, sorry to interrupt, but I just got a notification from YouTube Gaming that the Nintendo Fuse podcast is live right now. So.
Me too. There we go. So in case you didn't already know, we're live.
I would have never guessed.
The magic of the internet. But yeah, so we always love to make it really interactive. So as you guys post your comments and everything, you know, we'll read what you have to say as well. So shout out to Mike in the YouTube chat, and if anybody else is there, post a comment, and we'll give you a shout-out as well. Before we get into the best games of 2015, though, we want to briefly talk about some of the recent announcements. As you all know, the last podcast, we said that there was a Nintendo Direct, or at least, you know, we thought a Nintendo Direct would be coming, and as is history, we do a podcast, and then a Nintendo Direct is like days later, basically. It's always after the podcast. Somehow, in some way, shape, or form, it always follows the podcast. So there was a Nintendo Direct last time, and we want to kind of briefly talk about some of the highlights of the Nintendo Direct. So first of all, there were a couple of game announcements and release dates. So Star Fox Zero is coming April 22nd, so we got a date for that. And then they also talked about the much-rumored Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, which is coming in March. Excuse me. So those are kind of some of the big spring titles for next year. Are you guys excited about those games?
I am, especially Star Fox. The problem is this, though. The same day is the day I'm going down to Boston for PAX East, and therefore I am torn because I'm going to need to go down to Boston for PAX East, yet at the same time, there's a game that's releasing the exact same day, and I'm going to want to be playing it like all day long. So it's going to be a hard day for me. But yeah, I mean, I think Twilight Princess HD looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm torn there as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it or not. But as far as Star Fox goes, I've been excited from the very beginning. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. It's just kind of unfortunate that happens the same week as PAX East.
Hey, you can always go to PAX East and just play it there. Just spend your whole time.
I probably will.
Playing Star Fox Zero there.
Yeah, you might actually have the review copy too to bring with you.
Yeah, hopefully, if I get, am I on for the review? Man, I hope so.
Yeah, you are.
And that means I've played it like hopefully early than that, and then I'll be okay. I'll be all set. But if we don't get the review copy, then I'm buying myself. Then I'm in a predicament. But.
Yeah, you
If
are.
it's any consolation, Steve, we'll play the heck out of the game for you on that day in your honor.
I'm sure you will, yes. Hopefully there's online. Like, hopefully that's one of the things they're like, hey, we've put it off because we worked in online multiplayer. That would make me incredibly excited.
Please, have to.
Yeah, definitely. Greg, what about you? Are those games excite you at all?
Well, Twilight Princess more so. I really like that amiibo. I have to have that one. So I've already got that bundle pre-ordered already. So I'm also more excited because that amiibo will actually function with the new Legend of Zelda game coming out hopefully at the end of next year. So that is definitely a good reason to get it. Um, Another game I am most excited for is the Mario and Luigi Paper Jam game that's going to be out in early January too. That's going to be a lot of fun. I really love that series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear
definitely.
like I know a lot of people in the beginning were kind of like not so sure about it, and now people are getting more excited about it recently. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. What about you, Barry?
Yeah, I've got them both pre-ordered, and I will be playing them both day one. And like Greg, I gotta have that amiibo. Being the amiibo collectors that we are, and the Zelda fans that we are, absolutely have to have it. And like, yeah, see, Greg and I both representing, and you know, I'm also excited for Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. And I think the biggest disappointment for me about that game is not the game itself. It's more the reaction, because I see more and more people go, "Oh, it's just a filler title." Like they're just dismissing it. And like, how is that a filler title? It's reusing assets, but it's a whole brand new game. And I think it's not going to do that well, only because so many people are just dismissing it as a filler title, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah,
I think the most disappointing I think for Twilight Princess for me is just like I think it could have I don't know. I mean it looks great. Like I think it could have looked even better. I'm definitely not dismissing it because it does look really good. They put a lot of work in the textures and everything, and they look really sharp. But I think in my mind, for whatever reason, I was like, you know, it could look like that tech demo that they made, you know, a few years back, and I was like, that's what Twilight Princess could look like. And when it didn't, I'm like, eh. But I mean, and that would have required like basically them like creating the entire game, not just kind of retexturizing a little bit. So I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm a little disappointed in the look, because I was expecting, I don't know why, and that's probably a stupid expectation, but I was expecting even better visuals.
Steve, did you learn nothing from Space World 2000? Did you really learn nothing from that? Tech demos don't mean anything. We're not going to get them. It's not going to happen. Don't get your hopes up. It's just going to wind up in disappointment.
It's true.
That
It's
tech
only
demo
been
was
for a good 30 seconds, and that's about it.
talking about the
They were
tech demo
pushing
that
all
was
they
supposed to
could.
be Wind Waker. The tech demo that should have been Wind Waker, and then they ruined the visuals on that one.
No, that was Space World 2000.
yeah. The Twilight Princess HD is one of those like visuals, you know, whatever. I guess for me, I'm kind of curious to see what they do with the gamepad if they kind of add additional functionality and everything, and I think that might be kind of interesting. Granted, I probably will mostly play it with off TV play if I do, but still, it would be kind of interesting to see what added functionality if they included things with the gamepad. Plus, with the amiibo compatibility, like, you know, what more are they going to do with the game using the amiibo? So that would be interesting to see.
Most excited to play without a Wii remote because I never had the GameCube version. I had the Wii version.
That's a good point. I've always wondered. It does seem like they have went with the left-handed link, and so it looks kind of like the GameCube version. The original version is what they are remaking. So in a way, like for Greg and me, and for others that have only played the Wii version, it's gonna in a way kind of seem like a new game because like it's everything's flip-flopped. So.
Yeah, I actually did. I did that. I played the Wii version, and then several years later, I went and played the GameCube, and it was pretty much a whole brand new game. So it's a really cool experience. And of course, it's been so many years now. It'll be like playing a brand new game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get to play it on
Actually,
3
Twilight
different
Princess
systems.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was the only Zelda game I've ever gotten rid of, like traded in, because I was just like, I'm not playing it that much, and at the time I was a college student, strapped for cash, and there was other games that I wanted, so I traded it in, and now like looking back, I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? I'm like, oh, so maybe I'll replace it with the HD version this time. I don't know.
I only traded mine in just to get the reserve of the HD version. Still had it.
Yeah. Yeah,
People
I'm looking
blasphemy
forward to
is
it. What was
participating
that?
in Zelda games. That's blasphemous.
Oh.
I don't know you anymore.
I was young and naive.
The only one I was happy to
Yeah.
get rid of was Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've ever traded in any Zelda games. I've only traded in games like once, and I've regretted it ever since, basically. But I am excited to see what they do for Twilight Princess HD. And then also, the other Zelda game basically that is on the way for 3DS is Hyrule Warriors Legends. So that's another remake of sorts, and it's coming March 25th. And they kind of talked about Linkle a little bit, the female Link. Don't know how I feel about that name, but Linkle is what it is. And then the other big 3DS game that they discussed was Fire Emblem Fates, coming on February 19th. And I thought it was really cool how they have the Birthright and Conquest versions, but then there's like that third version that you can get, which is Revelation and everything. So you get all these kind of different sets, and they have the one set, the special edition with all three, which look pretty cool as well. So lots of interesting stuff coming to 3DS early next year as well, definitely.
About time.
Yeah. Who's going to get that special edition of Fire Emblem Fates?
Got it pre-ordered. I got it pre-ordered. Although I'm wondering, because it kind of just shows if you look at the graphic, it says, all share the same cart, but the card, or at least the box, only shows one of them. I think it's Conquest. So it's like, what about Birthright and Revelations? Is it a brand new cart that has all three? Is it just, one cart and the other two are download codes? I don't know how it exactly works, and that worries me, because if it's just one with the download codes, I'm going to be pissed off and have to buy at least Birthright separately. So I'm hoping they're all in the same cart and it's a special cart. If not, Nintendo head will roll.
My gist of it was that you get both physical copies of Birthright and Conquest, but then I think it's going to get code for Revelation.
It only shows one box. That's why if you look at it, there's only one actual game box. So, there are other 3DS games out there where it's like, here are two games in one, and it's on one cart. So it's a possibility.
Yeah, I guess. That'll be interesting to see what they do for that. But it looked kind of interesting, and I've never. I know, everybody's gonna hate me for this. I've never gotten into the Fire Emblem series yet, but I mean,
Right
the
here,
more and more that
right
I
here,
see,
man.
the more I'm
Genie
like,
Hudson.
maybe. But I mean, it's all about time now at this point, getting the time for it. But regardless, it seems more and more intriguing each time. So we'll see.
I believe Fire Emblem Awakening was part of the sale for Black Friday. You could have picked it up then.
True, I might have actually had another game to put on my list of 3DS games when we talk about later, because I struggled with some of those lists. But
Son,
yeah.
Hassan, you have a homework assignment.
I'll add that to my other list with Xenoblade and everything. But one of the other announcements, basically, that they had from the Nintendo Direct, kind of the big announcement that had a lot of buzz behind it, is Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is going to be the new DLC character in Super Smash Bros. Kind of came out of left field a little bit, but pretty interesting. And they also said that sometime in December they're going to have a special Super Smash Bros. Broadcast. I guess another probably Nintendo Direct geared towards Smash Bros. Making some announcements. And yeah, what do you guys think about Cloud and Smash Bros.?
Yeah, totally like everybody else, unexpected. Cool. I think I played Final Fantasy VII. It was one of the we had my mom, I think, got one of the second generation PS1s, and for us for like Christmas one year, and so my sister and I shared it pretty much. She played Guitar Hero a lot on it, and I ended up finding Final Fantasy VII on sale, like used or something like that, and I remember playing through it and loving it. But that's pretty much like the last Final Fantasy game I've ever played, and so I have. It's been so many years removed from that game, but I remember liking it a lot, and seeing him in Smash Brothers is definitely so unexpected. But his moves look pretty cool. He looks to be pretty powerful, and I'm looking forward to trying him out. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people have talked about and that I agree with is this kind of seems like it's opening the door for, I don't know what's going to happen next in terms of new characters, because Cloud's one of those that I think a lot of people didn't even consider as a possible character, because like why would they ever put Cloud in Smash Brothers? But now that he is, it's like, oh, well, who else might show up now? So I think that's the most exciting thing. He looks cool, but I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about is, what does this mean for the series as a whole?
Yeah, definitely. What about you guys, Greg?
I was actually kind of disappointed because Final Fantasy VII is actually not on a Nintendo console, so I mean, obviously it's good for the series to be able to include other characters, but I kind of thought it was going the characters that were supposed to be on like the console, and that's why Snake made it in, because he was in some like the NES and games or whatever and everything. So obviously making it into the history there too, but yeah, I mean more of a mainline Final Fantasy. I guess he's in the side games that no one really knows too much about. I kind of would rather wish.
People know Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is like what, one game on Nintendo console, a Dream Distance.
More than one.
Oh, there's a lot more than one, because you get the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, whatever it is, and yeah.
I thought that was another PlayStation series. I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know. I guess when I thought of Final Fantasy, I was thinking of like 4 or 6 that have more of a prominence on the actual Super Nintendo and even 3DS.
Yeah. What about you, Perry?
From a business aspect, it's a very smart move, because there's so many rabid Final Fantasy VII fanboys that I'm sure outside of the Square office for the last 10 years, they've just been like zombies, foaming at the mouth, like gunning on the gates to get a remake, which they finally did after Square's like, we're not doing a remake, and they just kept doing it. So they're only making the remake to shut them up. And there's such such a huge force to be reckoned with that Nintendo needs all the sales they can get. So they're pretty much like, throwing a Wii U in the crowd of them and like, here you go, Cloud, everyone pile on and buy our system. So from that aspect, it's completely smart. I'll pick them up, I'll play with them. As a Final Fantasy fan from the very first one, it gutted my heart to see that 7 appear instead of a 6 or a 4. Characters like Terra would have been much better, or Cecil would have been much better, or Kane, or Locke, or anyone from those games would have just fit the universe a lot better and would have been more to the heart of Nintendo. And of Cloud, of all the Final Fantasies, that was the one where it deviated to Sony's system. That was the one that was supposed to come to Nintendo and didn't. And it's almost like a reminder, like, hey, this is what you almost had, but you didn't. So my only hope out of all of this is that the remake comes to the NX, and comes to the NX as a launch title, like some kind of working out the deal. And I would have higher hopes for that if Mega Man Legacy Collection was actually coming to the Wii U, like in physical form, as opposed to just the 3DS, since Mega Man got such love in Smash Brothers. So I guess that means nothing. We'll never know. At least not for another few years. But like I said, I'm sure the Final Fantasy VII fans listening to this will probably be like, death to you! But, it was a good game, highly overrated in my opinion, and I would have loved to see a 4 or 6 character there instead.
I was thinking that just as it was announced too, I'm like, man, how cool would that be? Like, just like maybe not for the history of the, like that, more for the history of the game than the actual game itself. I know the remake is looking pretty awesome though, but to have that come to Wii U or NX or whatever would be kind of like, wow, it's almost like I can kind of forgive the past now because we got the new version. It was kind of like, it was still hurtful. It was hard to see the separation between, from Nintendo and moving over to Sony. But at the same time, like, okay, I see what you're doing now, Square. I'm willing to forgive the past because you've now come back around. So yeah, I only hope that they do bring it over to the Nintendo console as well.
I wouldn't mind a Dissidia port either for the NX as well.
I also want to touch on really quick. You did say like Terra and stuff like that. I think that would have been a much better fit because, as a number of other people said, this is like another sword-wielding character, and that just adds to the bundle of like Link and practically all the Fire Emblem characters and a number of the other sword fighters that we already have. So that just continues that use in
Fun
there.
fact. As a fun fact, the day after the announcement, one of my GameStops locally moved to a new location in the mall, and they had a grand opening with the Nintendo rep. So I went there to talk with the Nintendo rep. He had some bunch of freebies, and one of the things he had was a picture of Link and a picture of Cloud, and he was asking everybody that came into the GameStop, who would win now that Cloud's been announced, Link or Cloud, and it was like unanimous Link would kick the crap out of Cloud. Like out of like 400 and something votes of people who actually decided to participate, Link had well over half of them. It was like 80% of them were saying Link. So I was happy to see that. At least there's some Nintendo love going on.
Nice. Nice. Well, I guess they'll be able to settle it in Smash, right? And we'll see how those two will face off there. But yeah, I assume we'll hear more about it in whenever the December broadcast is, which was rumored. I think there's a rumor for the 16th. I think, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was the newest rumor. People were thinking it was this past Monday, but that turned out to be something different.
Yeah. So we'll see about the 16th. Now, for this past Monday, what that actually turned out to be was Minecraft finally coming to Wii U, coming on December 17th, and it will cost $29.99, and it's going to be an eShop download. It's going to come bundled with 6 of the DLC packs, and they're going to be adding more packs in the future, including they kind of hinted at like Nintendo-themed stuff. So there will be off-TV play as well. So that's another functionality. But yeah, Minecraft coming to Wii U. So that's happening. Anybody here excited about it?
I'm excited. Like, I would have been more excited that this happened 3 years ago. Not for me personally, because I'm not into Minecraft really, but I know a lot of other people, and it could have been a really smart move for them to have it, a while back. But I think it's still a good move. I just think it would have been a lot smarter if they did it before, 2015. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I hope they do it well. I hope they incorporate touchscreen controls. I think that would be awesome to be able to manipulate blocks and stuff like that using the touchscreen and really fine tune some stuff and everything. It could be a really cool experience with Minecraft, but I probably won't download it just because I'm just not a fan. But it is pretty cool what they're doing with it. 4-player local multiplayer, 8 players online. Hopefully they continue to do it well. But yeah, it's not really my thing.
I kind of share those same sentiments. It's not really my thing, and I also kind of agree it's a little bit kind of late for it as well. Kind of sounds like it's like Watch Dogs again, where it's like, oh, let's release it on other consoles, and then 6 months later, here you go. And then it's like, oh, why didn't it sell? Everyone already played it and beat it and was done playing it. But I know Minecraft has that addictive thing where it can keep going on forever. But I'm sure those that have already know about the game have a way to play it, whether it's on a mobile device or PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. So it kind of seems like it might be somewhat disappointing in sales when if it was closer to the launch period, it probably could have done a lot better and helped out the Wii U significantly more.
You
Yeah.
know it's bad when the PlayStation Vita has the game before the Wii U. That's all I have to say. I mean, it's way too little too late. It's great that it's there. I'm not going to get it. I've never been a fan of Minecraft. I'm happy that there are tons of people that play it. I think it's a great game, just not my cup of tea. I'm happy that Nintendo has it before the holidays. You know, it's another thing in their catalog. You know, if they do a retail release, I'll pick it up just to try to say, hey, look, Nintendo, get more third parties. But you know, it's too little, too late at this point. It's like you're bleeding from your neck and it's just coming down, and you just put a little Band-Aid over it. Like, look, Minecraft. You know, it's not going to help you. You're still going to bleed to death. That's it. It's just a little Band-Aid, and it's a Band-Aid that could have been applied years and years ago. The only thing I find humorous about it is that Microsoft is the one publishing it, since they own the company. So that's a thing. Microsoft is actually putting out a game on the Wii U. Wrap your heads around that one.
Yeah, especially in Japan, because it actually is like Microsoft publishing it. In America, it's still under the name of Mojang, but in Japan, it like actually is Microsoft published, which is really interesting.
That's what the Windows logo was for in Super Mario Maker.
Ah.
Hmm. No, well now talking about Smash Brothers characters, maybe we'll see some.
Master Chief coming.
Oh.
Right.
No.
Confirmed. You heard it here. No.
Clippy
Oh.
coming. Clippy.
Master Chief
I would.
Amiibo, everything. No, but I want to give a shout out to some people in the
Half-Life 3
chat as well.
Wii U.
Oh gosh.
Exclusive.
I want to give a shout out to Richard Romero. He says, I feel like anyone who wanted to play Minecraft has already found a way to play it by now on several other platforms. Agreed. And then also Pink Shih Tzu Puppy 01, shout out as well. So thank you to everybody in the chat posting your comments. Continue to post your comments, and we will continue to read them on the podcast as well.
I agree with Mike in the chat that yes, Minecraft Steve should come to Smash. I'm not a huge fan of Minecraft, only because I want a character named after me.
Yo, here, Steve. Instead of wasting one of those valuable 3 character slots left, there's this cool thing they added called the Mii Fighter, where you could put a Mii called Steve right there. You see, I see you have the amiibo right there.
He kind of looks like that right there, and he's named Steve. Except he has brown hair instead of blonde hair.
You have Steve. You have Steve already. You don't need another Steve.
I just can't play online with him.
Well, that's just because you can't connect to the internet. That's besides the point. You don't need to play online with Steve.
You used him when you played against me and Hassan.
Well,
There you
yes, when I can play friend event.
There. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, we all played. Greg's in the game. I'm in the game. Like, everybody's in the game, right? I mean, anybody can be in the game. Literally, even like Obama or somebody. I mean, like, Smash Brothers has everyone. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the Smash Brothers Direct and everything this month. We'll see. But that's pretty much it for some of the highlights of the recent news that came from the Direct and then the Minecraft announcement as well. Now we're in December. I mean, it's the end of the year, and so it's that time to kind of look back at all of our top games of the year, and literally look behind you, like look back over there. Don't you see them? They're way back there.
Amiibos. That's what was big this year. Amiibo.
That is true. That was big. So we have basically, these are the categories. Here's how it's going to work. So we're going to start off with the eShop category. So we're going to do 3DS eShop, and then Wii U eShop, and then we have 3DS and Wii U, and then we're going to go into like our overall top choices, and then crown our game of the year. Okay. So we're basically all going to take turns picking a choice, picking some game, and we're all going to start with our number 3 choice. We all picked the top 3. And we're going to go in order and pick our number 3 choice, and we'll all go back around in our number 2 choice, etc. So, starting with the 3DS eShop. These are games exclusive to the eShop, not retail titles. eShop only games. We're going to start off with Steve. What is your number 3 choice?
My number 3 on the Nintendo 3DS eShop was Stretchmo. It's a game that I actually forgot about until I was looking at the list. I was like, "Oh right, that came out this year." Um, and it's cool because it's one of those. Actually, I have spoiler alert. I have 2 on my list that actually are free to play or free to start games, and Stretchmo is one of those. And I think it's cool that they. I mean, I've always been a fan of those games, and just bringing it in a new way was kind of cool. So yeah, Stretchmo is my number 3 for the eShop 3DS.
Nice. Greg, what's your number 3? Nice. All right, Barry, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Dragon Fantasy: The Volumes of Westeria, which is a game release for the Wii U and the 3DS. It's a very, very cool, old-school RPG, and if you couldn't guess from the title, Dragon Fantasy is a mashup of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. And it plays just like Dragon Quest. And what's interesting about it is the story is short, but it's actually broken into like 3 different stories, 3 different perspectives. So you actually play through the same story 3 times, but from different perspectives. And like one of them has a traditional party setup where you can like recruit people. Another one, you don't get anybody in your party, but you can capture monsters and they fight with you. So it like really changes up the dynamic, and it's really worth giving a shot.
Nice. Interesting. For me, I didn't have a third choice. I only had a top 2 because I just didn't play much. So I guess I'm gonna pass for now. Sorry about that. All right, Steve, what's your number 2 choice?
Top fail. My number 2 is going back to the. Here's my other free to start, free to play game. It's Pokemon Shuffle. I am apparently a sucker for match 3 games because I've been I play this game all the time, and it was one that I started later on in the year. They came out with the game for iPhone, and I downloaded it, and I played it a couple rounds, but I went back to 3DS because I was so far along that I was like, God, I don't want to restart this thing over again. So I'm back to 3DS recently, and I've been playing a lot more. And it is one of those games, like Greg said, I've gotten so much game time with it, and I don't think I've ever spent a penny in terms of paying for the in-app purchases or in-game purchases or anything like that, because you get a play every 30 minutes or whatever. So it actually works out well for me because it puts me on a time limit because I think it'd probably be one of those games that I would spend hours and hours playing and wasting my life probably playing. But because I only get so many plays for every hour or whatever, then it kind of puts me in that limit. So it's been really fun.
Nice. What about you, Greg? What's your number 2 choice?
My number 2 was a little indie title called Box Boy. Well, not really indie, it was by Nintendo. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, it was a fun little puzzle game. You have to maneuver around as a little box, and you obviously can kind of stretch out and reach onto other platforms, and which is kind of a unique kind of platforming adventure game. They were pretty much small little levels bundled together into worlds, and I just had total blast playing it. It was a really surprise title.
Nice. All right, Barry, you're up. What's your number 2?
Is Pokemon Picross was my number 2, which just recently came out. It was one of the ones announced in the latest Direct. I never played a Picross game. I own several of them. I just never had the time. While I was on vacation, I figured, I'll give it a try. Why not? So I tried it, and I actually fell in love with the idea. And I'm not a fan of Sudoku, but I liked trying to use logic and math to solve the puzzles, and it's a guaranteed catch. So I was like, oh cool, I'm starting to do this and use the Pokemon, and the energy level kind of, or the energy limit to play is kind of daunting because sometimes you can only do like 2 or 3 puzzles and you have to wait, like 5 hours before you could do more. But there's also in the game, which I find unique, is if you get enough pick rights, which is the currency, you could actually upgrade your energy limit to unlimited. So you can turn a free-to-play game with restrictions to a free-to-play game with no restrictions. And I like that. I like that there's that option if you play it enough. And it's just a fun game. If you like Pokemon and you like Picross, give it a try. It's free, so no harm.
It
And I,
is.
again, haven't spent a dime.
It's really good. Like if we had a top 4, it would have been my number 4, as I'm a big fan of Picross as well, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So, spoiler alert again, my review is going to probably be pretty high on it. So.
Nice, nice. I want to give a quick shout out to Roth, by the way, in the chat. So shout out to Roth. So for me, I do have a number 2 choice, and it was a Nintendo Badge Arcade. Like Greg, it's been fun to kind of mess around with and get. I actually played this a lot on the Japanese version, on the Japanese system that I had, a while ago. So I actually kind of gave up all hope that it would come out in the U.S. because it had been out for a while in Japan, and it finally came out. So I haven't gotten the chance to play much on my U.S. system though. Which, by the way, I know in like every podcast for like the last year almost, I've said I'm going to be waiting for I want them to release a blue color system for the new 3DS XL. I ended up just importing it. They actually have a blue color U.S. region system in like Malaysia and Singapore, so I ended up getting it. So now I have a new 3DS XL finally. But I wanted that blue, so I had to import that. Yeah, Nintendo Badge Arcade is pretty cool. So on to you, Steve. What is your top choice?
My number 1 pick is interesting because it's a game in a series that when it was first announced many years back, I think the first one was on Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. I can't remember. I think it was Game Boy Advance. I was not into at all, and then it was a few years ago. I ended up getting the DSiWare, I think, version of this game, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of cool and everything, and lo and behold, when the 3DS and the Wii U version came out, we got the 3DS eShop version of Mario and versus Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, and I was sold. It's such a fun game. I think the be able to create your own levels and share them, and you're encouraged to share them, and to you can actually like tip stars to the ones you like. So that's kind of where the tipping stars comes in. It's just a fun game. It's challenging. The puzzles are challenging, the ones that built in, and then it's really cool to see what other people come up with. Way before Super Mario Maker was doing their automatic levels, there's levels in Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars that are automatic, which is really cool just to sit back and just watch all the stuff interact with each other and do those automatic levels and stuff too. So highly recommend it, and you do get both versions, which is kind of cool. I did not get the Wii U version because of the review, and it's just a long story, but that I won't share right now. But yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to just have that challenge, and it's a substantial game as well. So highly recommend Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars.
Nice. There you go. So that's Steve's top choice for 3DS eShop. What about you, Greg? What's your top choice?
Well, on a previous podcast, I mentioned how much I loved this game. So if you were listening to older podcasts, you would know it's a game called Binding of Isaac. It's also on the Wii U eShop, but I figured it was better suited for my on-the-go commute. And I've been addicted to it for months. It's a different game every time you play it. There's randomized dungeons, random power-ups, even different selectable characters, different challenges to do. There's just so much stuff to unlock and to play with this game, and no 2 games are ever the same, and I really like that aspect because obviously that carries on the replayability of the game. So I've had a total blast playing it. I I just decided to start playing a different game now, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just go back to binding it like.
Nice. Awesome. So that is Greg's top choice for 3DS eShop. What about you, Barry?
Mine. Well, first, I do have one actual honorable mention, which two of you already talked about, so I'm not going to say much. It's a Nintendo Badge Arcade. Just had some fun playing around with that, and you know, you can get a lot of badges for free, so I like that. But the Crane game just couldn't top the others. My number one, like Steve, it's Pokemon Shuffle. He liked it. I liked it. I've actually played it since the beginning, and I don't know if this will actually show up here, but I've actually got every single thing in the game that you can, full money, full plenty of hearts, and I didn't spend a single dime. It's very easy to do without spending any money. It's easy to farm money. It's easy to get stuff. There's always contests every week, and there's new Pokemon and new story, and they're up to like 200. I think about 230. I think they're up to now with it, which is just great considering that the original games ended at like 150, which was Mewtwo, and they're up 250. So they added 100 levels since it came out for free, on top of tons of EX Pokemon and tons of daily stuff and Safari. It's just a great puzzle game, well worth giving a try. Know that you don't have to spend any money, and just every 2.5 hours sit down and go, and then put it away, and you'll be surprised by how quick your day goes when you play by shuffle. And what I mean by that is you put it down and you go do some other stuff, and you're like, oh, I should be near 5 hearts, and you open it up and you're at 5, and you're like, has it really been 2.5 hours since I picked up this thing? And you don't realize it, but playing this game, you realize how fast time flies. But it's definitely worth it, and again, it's free, so pick it up.
And it's pretty much half the time that I turn my 3DS on, I see Barry online playing Pokemon Shuffle.
There you go, see?
Nice. I will have to. I never actually got the chance to play it. I guess I kind of dismissed it, but maybe I should give it a chance. I'll definitely have to check that out. My top choice was
your number 3.
Yeah, right. I could have done that. My top choice was the other Pokemon game that was talked about, Pokemon Picross. I've played other Picross games before, and I always enjoy them. So it's cool to kind of have that Pokemon twist to them as well. So even though it's only been out for a short while, I've still enjoyed what I've seen so far. So it's been good. So that wraps up. Yeah,
it's kind of sad that the other Pokemon free-to-play game got no love from us at all. The Rumble
Oh,
World.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, which one was the other one?
The Pokemon Rumble World.
That was free to play. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that one.
It's not that great in my opinion.
Well,
Cross are much better.
at least 2 out of 3 for Pokemon, so at least that's good enough, I guess. Passing, I think. So that was the 3DS eShop. Now let's take a look at the Wii U eShop. And I'm just going to just straight up say, spoiler alert, I have 0 choices. I have not played any Wii U eShop games this entire year. I'm a bad fan. I apologize. I went to the dark side and started playing more like PS4 and stuff this year. So, yeah, I know.
There's some good
Terrible.
ones too.
But
the indie scene has really stepped up their game this year too, and
yeah.
Don't
Well,
feel bad.
I will leave it up
I don't
to
play much
I'll leave it up
eShop
to you
either.
3 to tell me what games I need to try out now. So I'll definitely keep an eye on your suggestions. So let's start off with you, Steve. What's your number 3 suggestion?
well, the first game you should try, Asen, is a little game called Adventures of Pip. And I know it's on other consoles too, so maybe you've played it on PS4 or your phone or anything like that. But Adventures of Pip is a pretty awesome example of how we can't any developers have really taken something simple as a platformer and turned it up to something new with these transformations and putting in kind of in a video game kind of world where he transforms between 8-bit to 16-bit to 32-bit and kind of like each level of Pip has different features that he can do, and so sometimes you need his 8-bit form, but sometimes you need the full form, and it's pretty cool to like transform between different ones and stuff. So if you're an adventure platformer fan, Adventures of Pip is definitely a fantastic game on Wii U eShop.
Cool. I will keep that in mind. Greg, what is your number 3?
Um, well, I don't even know if I know how to pronounce this properly, but it's like that NintendoFuse game too, and it was just like a fun little kind of like it was kind of like the color-based thing, kind of similar to Rumble, but not kind of different. Like you were able to like make like the ground ice and stuff, so you can like slide, and it was pretty interesting way to solve puzzles and adventure through. It was just kind of interesting to this void, and you want to become like one and everything, and it was just very well. Cause I haven't played it in a while, but I do remember it was a very fun time where I was having playing it. I can probably
Nice.
spell it if anyone's really interested.
You said it, I think I have it like Nihilumbra, right?
Yeah.
Nihil
I don't even remember that game coming out.
Nihilumbra. I'm going with that. All right, Barry. Looks like what's going on with your number 3 over there? It's a little non-existent.
like you, Hassan. And many people who know, I am not a digital person, so therefore the games I had on my list were reviews or free to play. So I do not have a number 3. Yeah, I can't give you a suggestion, Hassan. It's nothing.
You know that, like, I feel like...
You know what? I'm just gonna steal Steve's Adventures of Pip. There you go.
At least you can pronounce that one.
Yeah, that one's easy to pronounce.
Easier to pronounce.
You know, it's interesting when like a bunch of us are missing certain like games and even a top 3. It's like you know that the systems are winding down. Then like something's happening this year. Then, but all right. So let's circle back to Steve. What's your number 2?
All right, number 2 is a game that you will see my review coming out really soon, hopefully, is Toto Temple Deluxe. Nick and I got a chance to check this out back at PAX East this year, and it was one of those games that we knew nothing about going into, and all of a sudden we played it, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is really fun. It's definitely a multiplayer game. There is a single player aspect, but it's designed to have 4-player multiplayer, and it's just one of those chaotic games. Like everything happens on the same screen, and so there's kind of 2 main modes. Like you can do different things within each of these modes, but it's really 2 main modes. One involves grabbing a goat and holding him for the longest time while other players are trying to steal him, and you're grabbing coins and all this other stuff. So it's just chaos. But the other mode involves grabbing a bomb and getting next to the other players without them stealing it, and the bomb will go off at a random time. So it's kind of like a hot potato sort of thing, but instead of you passing it around, you're actually trying to steal it from each other, and then it could go off. And if your opponents are within the radius of that bomb, you'll defeat them, and the goal is to be the last one standing. So it makes for some fantastic party times. Like you get 4 players jumping around, you're just like screaming at each other and yelling and just having a blast. So Toto Temple Deluxe is a great party game.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool. Greg, what's your number 2?
Well, this one's significantly easier to pronounce, and I went with a review that just went live on our site recently. It was a game called Elliot Quest. It's basically like a spiritual successor to Zelda 2, my all-time favorite Zelda game currently. You just explore around. There's an overhead map where you can go into side-scrolling portions. You venture around in temples. You find magic items. You use items. It was basically, if they were able to make Zelda 2 any better, I'm sure this is what it would have looked like.
Cool. So that is Elliot Quest. Barry, what's your number 2?
Well, good news, first of all. I actually thought of another game I actually played this year, which
Is
is
it by
one that
default get
Steve...
number 3?
No. I'm eliminating a default, which is one that Steven, Mike, and I all reviewed, which is Trine Enhanced Edition. I forgot that was actually this year. Although I can't say I totally recommend it, unless it's 2 o'clock in the morning with 2 other buddies, and you're just having a blast, killing yourself. But
Even
yeah,
when
that
I
one,
decide, my internet drops and we're playing, on
yes.
our own and whatever, and like whatever. Yeah.
Yes, I can't recommend it, but it's my number 3 because I actually did play it. But no, my number 2 is kind of a page off of 3DS, which is Dragon Fantasy again, because I didn't really play many Wii U games, and I did actually play both versions of this to test it out. So what I said before follows through. If you can't play it on the 3DS, try it on the Wii U because it's there too.
Cool. All right. So we're down to our top choice for Wii U eShop. What is it for you, Steve?
I don't know. Hudson, when you have one? No, nothing. Going with the party game again. It's Runbow. Runbow was my favorite Wii U eShop game. Similar actually to Toto Temple Deluxe. They were, I played both games the first time the same day at PAX East this year, and they were like kitty corner to each other at the show floor. So we were like, I'd play one and then we'd go over there and play the other one. And also a great party game, a little more variety, I guess, which is maybe the reason why it took first place over Toto Temple, just because I think there's a little more variety to what you can do in the game, and the fact that it allows for 9 players. That alone kind of stepped it up above Toto Temple, because Toto Temple is just 4 players, but Runbow having 9 players on the same screen, getting more players in, if you have a big party, a lot of people over, getting more players in the game just makes for a really fun experience. And so I play games to have fun, and Runbow is a lot of fun, and so that's why it took number 1 for me.
Very cool, very cool. And I think you had an honorable mention as well, right?
I did, yeah. Fast Racing Neo. If it was out before this list, before they made this list, it might have made the list. But I just say, like, it probably will be one of my favorite games on the eShop this year. But not out yet, so I couldn't legitimately put it on my list, since I don't know what it's going to be like. But it probably will be pretty good.
Gotcha. Okay. So on to Greg with his number 1 choice, which should sound familiar.
And unfortunately, we'll echo Steve's number 3 pick. It was Ventures of Pit. Obviously, Steve already gave a pretty good description of it, but I had quite a blast playing it, and I've been revisiting it from time to time, even up to like these last couple of months. So I've been having a lot of fun, and still haven't completed it yet, but slowly working my way there.
Very cool. All right, Barry, what is your number 1 choice?
Adventures of Pip. No, it's not. It's,
That was your number 3 pick, Harry.
number 3 was Trine Enhanced Edition now.
It should have been Adventures of Pip. That's a much better game than Trine Enhanced Edition.
My number 1 is Typo Man, which I've been playing now for review, and I'm not all the way through it yet, but from what I played, it's not a perfect game. There's definitely some problems with it, but in terms of originality, it's the sky's the limit. It's a very original puzzle platformer, but it's not like I was expecting more of a little bit of a slow pace for like something like a Limbo, which had a little bit more of a slow pace. And this, while it has slow parts, there are some parts where it's like a hair. Like if you're a hair too late, you're dead. Like it's very unforgiving. You really have to keep moving, and I didn't expect that. And I guess it's a pro and a con, but it's definitely worth at least trying out the demo.
Nice, and Barry did do an interview with the developer
Yes.
as well, so you can check that out, which was really cool. So, yeah, definitely an intriguing game. So, I guess we end the Wii U eShop category with a lot of knowledge there, some great titles, and I need to go back and play some stuff apparently. So I have a good list set up here now of games to go back and play. All right, so now we are on to our retail categories here. We have the Nintendo 3DS. So kicking things off with the number 3 choice for Nintendo 3DS is Steve.
Well, I have to admit, I didn't really play too many retail games this year. Most of the things that I played on the 3DS was eShop, and I was even looking back through the list, and there wasn't much released this year for the 3DS. Really, like there was slim pickings, and so my number 3 is actually a game that I have not played, but. From what I've played in the past and reviews I've read and little experiences with demos and things like that. So I've not actually played the full game, but all those combined, I think it's worthy to mention Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. It's just yeah, it seems like a great game. The reason I didn't jump into it is not because I don't think I like it. It's really because I still have so much to do with Monster Hunter 3 Try or whatever for on Wii that like there's no way that I would have the time to jump into another game to try all that again. So if I had the time, this would have been a game that I would have played this year. But even though I didn't play it, the full game, I still think it's worthy enough to mention for number 3.
Nice. All right, Greg, what is your number 3 choice?
Well, like Steve, I knew there was some pickings this kind of year, but this was actually one I did play because I actually couldn't find a game that I haven't played that would replace it. It's like the Puzzles and Dragons Z, the Super Mario Brothers edition game. It's not something I would have preferred to pick, but as I said, I couldn't even locate a different title to replace the slot. It was kind of interesting. It just seemed like you really had to know how to play those tile swapping games, which I'm not very good at. So obviously at the beginning you can whiz right past it, and then eventually you'll hit that one point where you're supposed to be very knowledgeable and know exactly what moves to make in advance, and that's usually where I start to fail.
Yeah, that demo is like one level is really easy and the other one is incredibly difficult. And so I was playing that again a game that I was playing at PAX East. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could ever get used to this game because I'm used to the simple style match 3s and stuff, but that like fast paced and be able to flip multiple tiles at the same time, like wow, I'm not ready for this. I need some practice.
Yeah, it definitely seems interesting. Okay. I guess we'll see how that one is. On to Barry with his number 3 choice.
Unlike Steve and Greg, I've actually played a hell of a lot of retail 3DS games this year. In fact, I've probably played the 3DS more than any other system this year. So I have a lot of honorable mentions. What?
You've probably played all the 3DS retail.
Probably, for all I know. But I did have to pick a 3, but I do have a lot of honorable mentions when I get towards number 1. But my number 3 is actually probably going to be surprising to some people because it didn't get the best reviews, but it has a special spot in my heart, and that's Chibi Robo Ziplash. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people were saying it's the death of Chibi Robo, and it very well may be, but it didn't pick up until like the 3rd or 4th world, but then it just had a charm, and it was before it was like, all right, let me do like 2 levels, and I had to put it down. And by the end, I was 100%ing the game. I was playing like 8 levels at a time, just trying to get everything, and just the charm and the candy and the snacks and the toys and the costumes, and it was just there's just so much to it that you could tell the developers really were putting a lot of soul into this game. And if you haven't played it, give it a chance, at least to the 4th world. There are definitely some vehicle levels that are unforgiving. I understand that, but you learn the patterns, and it's much easier than things like Battletoads, which is what some people, equated it to. But it's worth it. it's just worth it for the charm alone. I mean, come on, what other game can you pull up Tootsie Pops and go, yay, Tootsie Pops, and then have a toy ramble about how the sweet, yummy thing of Tootsie Pops. I'm like, all right, this is cool. This is different. This is something that's not on any other system. So that's my number 3.
I did not hear
Nice.
the comparisons to Battletoads. That's
Yeah, because there's
surprising.
there's jet ski levels where you have to like use your zip lash to power the jet ski, and you're constantly draining energy to keep the jet ski going. So you have to constantly get energy balls while you're doing it, and there's bombs and stuff. And if you get hit, it could do so much damage to your energy that you can't recover, and it's over. And it's like a 3-plane thing where you have top, middle, and lower, and you can switch between them at any time, and you have to constantly switch between them. There's only like 4 or 5 levels like that, so it's not the whole game, but it spices things up, and I think it's fun. It's a memorization thing. It's old school Nintendo style, and I like that. So
Cool. Yeah, I was debating getting it partially because of the amiibo. Really, didn't get a chance to get it yet, but I might still pick that up. So my number 3 choice, I actually don't have a number 3 choice.
oh my God,
I
Video
know.
games this year.
I'm
the only one who played
I
the
promise
3DS.
the game. From now on, I will have a choice for everything. It's just now, up until now. From now on, I'll have choices, just not yet. So I know I'm a bad gamer. I'm becoming
This is gonna
becoming
be
one of those
announcing,
dreaded.
later on, his an announcement of his PlayStation podcast that's going to be coming out.
PlayStation 2, just check it out. I'm becoming one of those dreaded casual gamers. Like, what? No. All right. Well, so
I
moving
feel
on.
ya.
I promise from now on, though, I have actual picks. So up until now, though. So, Steve, what is your number 2 choice?
All right, so we're looking at I forgot for a second. I was like, what category are we on? Oh, right, 3DS. Way back at the beginning of this year, there was a remake of a game that I did a review on, and I liked the original game, and I really liked the remake as well. Kind of like an addition, not really a remake, but it's called Ace Combat Assault Horizon Legacy Plus. I like, as you guys know, I'm really looking forward to Star Fox. I love flying games. I think they're fantastic. I think it's fun, mainly because I really enjoy flying. I wish I could fly an airplane myself. And I think the added bonuses of the 3D effects, and especially playing on a new 3DS is awesome because I can actually move around and stuff, and not lose the 3D, which is fun because in older Star Fox or Star Fox 3D and the original, it's just like you can't play the 3D on, but now you can, and it's so much fun to play that, and having the amiibo functionality and or not amiibo, but the different functionality where you can get the themed aircraft and stuff like that after Mario, and characters and things like that is just cool to add in that extra stuff. So it's fun. It's it's just a fun game. So if you're into flying stuff, it's definitely one to look up.
Cool. I was curious about that game too. It seemed interesting. So nice. All right, Greg, what is your number 2 choice?
Well, this is the one that I knew that I should put in the list, but I haven't played it yet. I'm thinking that I might get it for Christmas, but it's the Triforce Heroes. I do enjoy Zelda games, so I know this one's more of a multiplayer one, but I think I would still be able to enjoy some aspects of it, and I'm hoping to look forward to picking it up later on this holiday season.
Nice. Continuing with the Zelda trend, Barry, with your number 2 choice.
My number 2, like Steve, is a remake of a game that came out at the same time as Ace Combat, and Steve's third choice, Monster Hunter 4, and that's Majora's Mask 3D, which is a game I enjoyed on the N64, but I haven't played it since 2000. I think I just played a little bit with the GameCube re-release, but that was the first time sitting down and actually replaying through the game. The graphics are nicely updated, just like Ocarina of Time 3D was. The 3D effects were cool. Some little problems with the gyro, but they were minimal. It's just a really, really good game to begin with. I mean, it's not a new game; it's a re-release, but it's at least an updated re-release. And what else is there to say? If you haven't played Majora's Mask in some form in the last 15 years, it obviously doesn't attract you, and you probably aren't going to. But if you are even remotely curious, and you can't get an N64, and you like physical copies, or a GameCube for that matter, then get this.
That's your homework assignment, right?
Yeah, that was not a homework assignment because it's 15 years old. Okay, I'm not gonna go back and like I say, do your first grade homework again. Damn it,
All right. So finally, I have a choice. Well, kind of. So my number 2 choice is Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. That being said, I bought it. I just actually haven't played it yet. But I love this. I love the Mystery Dungeon games. So I've actually been meaning to the last couple of days. I've been wanting to play it. I just every time something keeps coming up. But I'm really excited about it. And it probably would have been my first choice had I actually played it. But I felt like since I haven't officially played it yet, I couldn't make it my first choice. But so it's my second choice. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it because it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And I tend to enjoy those games more than the mainline Pokemon games. Actually, they're actually pretty fun. And the stories
even
are
Gates of Infinity.
Well, that one I don't think I played. I really like Explorers of Time and Darkness. Those Mystery Dungeon games were some of my favorite games ever. Like I almost cried from the story and everything. Like they were top notch. So I'm hoping this one will be, engaging and interesting. But we'll see. But that's my my number 2 choice. All right, Steve, what is your top 3DS game?
My top 3DS game is I'm gonna take a guess, and it's probably the same as Barry's. And so because of that, and because he's even a bigger fan than I am, I think I feel comfortable letting him talk about it even more. But it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. I've only played a little bit of it, and it's great. It's the Xenoblade Chronicles that was fantastic on Wii, and even better on 3DS because you can take it on the go and stuff like that. So I'll let him talk about it a little more.
No. Okay. See, that was one of your homework assignments. So you got to keep talking. You can't just turn in the paper and go, well, this book is really good. I think you've liked it. So I'm going to let you do the report for me. No, keep talking.
There's not enough for me to talk about it yet. I've tasted it enough to be like, this thing is awesome. But I know that you played so much more that I feel like I won't give it adequate. Just giving it number 1 is really yeah.
Despite you giving it a number 1, I'm giving your description an F. I want better from you.
I gotta play more.
Watch Barry's number 1 not be Xenoblade. Watch that happen, and then Steve's gonna be like, "Oh, great."
Oh man. I would be shocked. I would be shocked.
We'll find out. We'll find out what it is. But Greg, what is your number 1?
Well, I did want to make a clarification. I did say I did play 3 3DS games this year, and I did play Xenoblade Chronicles, but I can't say that I actually enjoyed it. So I actually had to trade that one in because I didn't really care for it. But my number 1
Barry's
pick is
coming over from New Jersey to smack you down. I can.
Dude,
he's already hopping in his car.
I know it's only got quiet.
I'm upgrading Steve's grade to a D- so that you can get the F, Greg.
Grading on the curve.
Where's that bell curve? I get a C, don't I?
All right. So what was your top choice then?
It was Majora's Mask 3D, and it was one of my first times really actually playing through the entire thing. I never had the 64 version of it, but I did have the GameCube bundle, and I did play it all the way through. I didn't complete getting all the masks in that one though, just because I was kind of rushed for time to try and finish it in general. But I did enjoy playing it on the 3DS and being able to actually find all the masks, and I really liked all the new features they added in, like all the task books, assignments, and all that kind of stuff. So I know Barry also went into lengths about that one, so I really agreed, and I had a lot of fun playing it. That's about all I can say about it.
Okay. So Barry, was Steve right for your number one choice?
I gotta do honorable mentions first, which
All right.
unlike you guys, I actually do have several that I'm just gonna touch on quickly for people who didn't play a lot of retail games for the 3DS that should probably go out and find these games to play. I'm not gonna mention any names here. John, Steve, Greg. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sneeze coming on here.
What was that?
Yeah. My first one is My first one is Codename Steam, which didn't get a lot of love, and I know it wasn't the best when it first came out, but after the patch, it was a lot more fun. Definitely worth it for strategy games. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, unlike Hassan, I actually did play it. Not all the way through, though, and it is great. You will love it. It is definitely an awesome game. Monster Hunter 4, did play it, although not to the hours that I wish I could, unfortunately, but it's deep. Shovel Knight, which I wanted to put in my top 3, but it was released last year, but being the retail, I got it retail, and I love it, so I have to put at least in honorable mentions. And now, my number 1 choice was actually a tough one. One of my choices went to number 1, the other one actually went to honorable mentions, because despite being tough, I didn't want them both there. And it was a tough choice between Xenoblade and the Zelda game, and I had to weigh them, and it was really, really tough, but the honorable mention goes to Triforce Heroes, because as much as I love the game, there's too many people online that ruin the game, and in order to beat it, I had to get 2 other friends together to play through it, because I just kept dealing with trolls that would just pick you up and stand there, or throw you over the edge, and not do the puzzles, and it just got so frustrating because I couldn't do it single player, do some of the mechanics, and it was just too frustrating for that reason, due to the other people. And it was just, if you could do 2 players with a third clone, I would be fine. But one, so because of that, Steve
realized that would happen. That's funny, but bad at the same time. But
yeah, people do it all the time. There's a reason they put a blacklist in there, but there's so many people that just go in there to troll. And even if they just like, oh, I just want the first level again, the first level again, the first level again, that keeps coming up. It's like, come on. And then they give you the thumbs up and like the palms, like, yay, look what I did. And it's like, I hate you. But no, Steve was right. My number 1 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. It was my favorite game of all of last generation, and that includes, the DS, the Wii, the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the PSP. Completely was my favorite of all of those systems. So how could I not throw it up there at number 1? It is a fantastic game. It's a fantastic role-playing game. If you haven't played it yet, that is your group homework assignment for everybody listening. You must play this game. It is worth buying a new system for. Is it the best version of the game? No. If you can get the Wii version, definitely play the Wii version. There are some problems with the 3DS version. However, Wii version's expensive. Not everybody still has a Wii. I mean, you have a Wii U, you could play it on the Wii U, but if you can't get the Wii version, then get this. It's just a great game. Don't trade it in, or you're going to get an F. Play it more and talk about it a lot, or you're going to get a D-. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D is my game of the year.
There we go.
Level up. You gotta level up then. Level up a little bit and then come back.
Well, so Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D seems to be, a game that's popping up a lot. So definitely something to keep an eye on. So my top 3DS game, I guess by default in a way, because I guess it's like the one 3DS game that I played, is Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, and yeah, I don't know. There's some.
You got this brand new 3DS to play too.
See, it's not that I'm not playing the 3DS. I've been playing a lot of Smash Brothers and other games too. So I've been playing a lot of older games, just not the newer stuff. Um, so that's the thing. That like if we could talk about Smash Brothers DLC and stuff, like heck yeah, that would be on all my lists, you know. But yeah. So I mean, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. There's some aspects of it that the game introduced that I think would be really cool if they carried it over into the mainline series, like a lot of the extra detail and things that they added. And the amiibo cards, I mean, are fun to collect, and I like being able to bring in all the various villagers into the game and stuff. But that being said, it is still kind of boring because it's just a small part of the Animal Crossing game. My sister liked it; she kept taking my 3DS and playing it. But for me, it's kind
really
of by
a card
default.
number one.
Pretty much, pretty much. So this is my sister's 3DS list right here for her top 3 games. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for 3DS there. But for Wii U, I promise I actually have some games to discuss. So let's do that then. Let's move on to Wii U. Let's talk Wii U retail titles. Steve, want to kick it off with your number 3 choice?
Sure, and this is a game that that I have not gotten, but so this is only based on what I've seen in terms of other gameplay that I've seen, videos online, things like that. And the reason it is not because I don't want it. The reason is because it's this close to my birthday and Christmas, and it's on my list, and I might end up getting it for my parents or something like that, for my wife or something like that for a gift. And so I've held off on buying it. It's one of those very few things that I've actually held off on buying, because by this time I just ended up buying something I want instead of waiting. But Xenoblade Chronicles X. It looks fantastic, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. I am probably never going to finish this game because Xenoblade takes 100+ hours. I'm sure X is going to take even longer, and there's no way I'm going to ever probably finish this game until I'm like 50 or something and still playing my Wii U maybe. But I know I'm going to enjoy it, and therefore it has taken number 3.
Cool. All right, Greg, what is your number 3 choice?
This one was I had trouble ranking this one and my number 2, but I ultimately decided with Splatoon. It was a great game. I had fun with the multiplayer. I did all the single-player missions, all the amiibo missions. It was overall a great experience, but I think what really kind of pushed it down a little bit was when I finally got ranked battle. My team could never manage to win when I was playing it. I'd win like 1 of 5. So then every time I got a little bit of progress, then I'd lose it all within the next 2-3 matches. So it seemed like it was certainly impossible to get anywhere near that point. But as I was talking about with Xenoblade, anytime I get frustrated, it's usually when you stop. So then I go back to the normal fun mode and seem to win all the time over there. Or not all the time, but more of a majority of the amount of time. So that's my number 3 pick was Splatoon.
Okay. Barry, what's your number 3 choice?
My number 3 is Yoshi's Woolly World, which is one of those games that I saw lukewarm reviews all over. I was like, oh, not even counting it as a big game, and I love the hell out of it. It's just, besides the fact that it's cute, it's challenging. It's there's a lot to look for. There's a lot of hidden objects. There's, a lot of collectibles, and I love collectibles and platformers. But there is just some levels that really show that same 2D challenge like Tropical Freeze did and did so well. And it's just a great, great game. And I love the amiibo support too. Every all those costumes and different Yoshis that you can be, and even 2-player. And 2-player is just a lot of fun. It's one of those. If you like 2D platformers, if you're a fan of Yoshi's Island, and you don't own this game already, you better be getting it for Christmas or go take your Christmas money and buy it because it's well worth playing. It's a lot of fun.
And you get this cute little guy.
Yeah, and you get the little yarn Yoshis, which are freaking awesome.
Yeah, I've been trying to hunt down the Mega one, man. That one's tough.
He's not terribly tough. You just gotta look. I mean, if you look really hard, one could just pop up in front of you out of nowhere like a wild yarn Yoshi.
Yeah, that Yoshi's Woolly World is a game that like I didn't get a chance to buy it yet, but it's on my list of games to get, and I am excited about that one. But my number three choice is one I actually almost forgot about this game until I was going back and I was like, oh yeah, it released this year. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I actually enjoyed what I played of it. It's very similar in a sense to Kirby Canvas Curse from the DS way back when, but it was pretty cool, and I enjoyed what I played of it. It's fun to kind of control on the stylus on the gamepad and mess around and the amiibo like power ups and stuff were interesting as well. So yeah, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse was my number three choice. All right, Steve, what's your number two?
Apparently, I liked Splatoon a little more than Greg because it jumped up to number two for me. Splatoon is it's just really fun. I kind of knew. I mean, if you go back to our podcast last year, and we knew Splatoon was coming out and everything, and we were playing it and like demos and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm really going to enjoy this game, and it's true. I really enjoyed it. I only wish I could play it more. I haven't played it in the last few weeks just because of life got busy, and I've missed so many Splatfest, and it's upsetting. But it's so fun, and they keep supporting it. Like it's like every week, at least you get some new weapon or some like new maps that are coming out and all those different things. It's one of those games that I didn't like because I reviewed it and in the very beginning I was like, it's really fun, but it's kind of lacking. But now it's jam-packed with stuff, and it's definitely one of those games that has gotten better with time because they keep supporting it, and it's really fun. And it's an FPS, or third-person shooter, I guess, that I actually do well at, unlike like Call of Duty, like where I go online and I just get destroyed by 11-year-olds that only play in their basements like all the time and then curse at you. But but on Splatoon, I was like, actually, I do pretty well, and it's fun to have a game like that is not just like you go online and you just get destroyed all the time. You can actually stand a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Greg, what is your number two choice?
Was one that's already been mentioned. It was Yoshi's Woolly World. I really love the Yoshi games. I usually try to complete them the best I can. This one seems a lot better than the last couple that have come out, like the Yoshi's New Island and the Yoshi's Island DS. It's definitely better than both of those. I like all the new collectibles, and it's just so much fun. It's a very interesting take playing a yarn-like game, and you can turn everything into yarn, and everything looks gorgeous, and absolutely love it.
Nice. All right, Barry, what's your number two?
My number two is probably a lot of people's number one, and that's Super Mario Maker. What's there not to say about this game? I mean, it's just a fantastic game to begin with. I love the course designs. I know we've had some fun challenging each other to different courses to be as evil as possible, and I've seen some really evil courses. I like the new events they've added. They're fun. The new costumes that you could add, and I'm glad they brought those over to America because I know they had them in Japan. But if you've ever been a 6-year-old kid playing Super Mario Brothers, wanting to design your own levels, this is the game for you. And I just hope they add more things. I know slopes are big. I'd like to see more enemies like the angry sun that haunted me as a child come back, and like other things like that. It would be really great. But even as it is, it's a Mario game with infinite levels. Granted, some of those levels vary in quality, and some of them autoplay, some of them are just downright devious, and others are a lot of fun, so you do have to weed through them. But overall, it's just a blast to play.
Nice. My number two is actually the same as you, Barry. Super Mario Maker. It's one of those games that I wish I've gotten the chance to play it more, but what I have played, it seems easy enough to kind of get started in building a level, but also complicated enough that you can really get into some intricate level design, and it's really cool to see what other people have designed online as well. I mean, I'm personally not very creative in my levels, but just going online and seeing what other people make is really cool as well. So, Super Mario Maker is my number two. And I have a feeling we'll be hearing a lot more about this game. Steve?
Hmm. Well,
Before,
quickly, I'll mention some honorable mentions. Yoshi's Woolly World was on my list of honorable mentions as well, and Disney Infinity 3.0 is also on my list of honorable mentions. I talked about this in a previous podcast, and Jeremy and I are going to be reviewing it soon with a video discussion. There's just so much content. It's like its own console in itself. It's just this platform just keeps growing, and for the content alone, it's a really solid game. There's just so much out there. So definitely both of those games are worth mentioning. But Super Mario Maker is my number one for the Wii U, and for all the reasons that you guys have said. It's a great game, but at the same time, I think what I want to mention is, especially in light of I think this is like the global week of computer science is this week, and like Hour of Code I think is happening this week, or it has already happened this week. That's like getting people, especially kids, into coding and developing and stuff. This game really does a really cool job of getting people into game design. And I think it's in a very simple way, but I think it could have a potential to really turn a brand new generation into some game developers or some app developers or whatever. That this could be the thing that inspires them to do something great for on computers or for video game consoles or whatever. This could be something that kind of gets that going for some people, and I think that alone is worthy to mention about this game, because not only is it fun to play all these infinite number of levels. Me not even being very creative in my level design, it's fun to create levels. It's fun to like be able to instantly think, okay, this I could do this and this, and just instantly do it, and play through it right away. And you all of a sudden, I've grown appreciation for level testers and for video game testers and quality design and all that stuff that goes into a video game development. Man, I'm like, I've grown an entire appreciation for that entire process by playing this game.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty cool to see what the game has done. Greg, your number one choice?
well, kind of hard to say anything else about Super Mario Maker, but that obviously was my number one. I reviewed it earlier in the year. Absolutely had fun playing it. As everyone said, there's infinite levels, and it will continue to reach closer to that level as more are created. I am looking forward to at least the next planned update that allows you to search through them. I can't wait to have some sort of way to filter and add like almost a clear playlist of levels to go through. I think that would be really neat and really add to making to find levels a lot easier. Other than that, I mean, I've been a part of a few of the communities and sharing levels and creating levels and everything like that, and we get to see what other people are creating, and that's been a lot of fun for me, I think.
Cool. So obviously, it seems Super Mario Maker is pretty popular amongst the crew. But what about you, Barry? What is your number one choice since Super Mario Maker was number two?
Well, a couple honorable mentions that were already said, like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which I reviewed. Was a great game, and definitely worth playing. Splatoon is my in honorable mentions. Was again a great game. Had a lot of fun with it. A couple lesser known titles that people out there probably have not even heard of. Legend of K Anniversary was a blast to play. Rodea the Sky Soldier. The Wii version's actually better, but since we don't have a Wii version category, I gotta put it with Wii U honorable mentions. Shovel Knight, again, same deal, retail. Finally get to play it. And Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams Director's Cut, which is really interesting history behind that. that game series, and the fact that it's on Nintendo consoles is really awesome. And the Wii U is the only one that got a retail release, so that's kind of cool. But my number one would have been Zelda Wii U had it come out, possibly. But because it didn't, it made my choice very easy, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I have not had a lot of time to play with, being that it just came out. But it doesn't matter. What I played, I love. What I've seen, I love. Everything about it, I love. I wish there was a little bit more emphasis in the story, and I know they didn't go with that, and that was one of the biggest draws for me with Xenoblade Chronicles, was definitely the story. However, the gameplay is just so awesome. The world is so massive. It's just hundreds of hours, tons to do. Definitely the type of game the Wii U needs. Definitely the type of game Nintendo should advertise more. Definitely the game that Nintendo is not advertising at all, let alone enough, really. And it's just, what's there not to say about it? If you like JRPGs, if you like open world games, if you like MMO style, then give it a shot. Just to explore. It's a beautiful, beautiful world that you get to explore, and to me, that's just awesome. I mean, you get to kill dinosaurs and giant robots. Come on. What 9-year-old inside of you wouldn't want to do that?
Sounds cool. So let's see. For me, I was going to say honorable mention, but it's more just like mentioning. I just wanted to say, I haven't played much on Wii U, but one of the other games I did play was Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, which was kind of lame, so probably pass on it. Don't spend too much time on that game. Just letting you guys know.
Okay, I do want your opinion. Have you played Mario Party 10?
Yes. I like Amiibo Festival better than Mario Party 10.
Really?
Festival better. And I say that because Mario Party 10 is just pure disappointment, and I just don't like the way that it plays. Amiibo Festival is boring, but in a way, like, it's accessible to a lot of people. Like, I actually went and I brought my Wii U over to my grandparents' house, and I played with my grandmother, and like she had just about as much chance of winning as I did in a way. So it's like all about luck, but at least it's accessible and it's kind of easy for people to play. So in that sense, it's kind of neat. But I haven't gotten the chance to play the mini games yet, because you can get mini games with the cards. So I just unlocked those recently. So we'll see. Maybe that will bump up my rating of it. Who knows? But my number one choice is Splatoon, and that game is so much fun to play online. I wish I had more time to play it recently, but it's just creative and interesting, and I love the music in the game, the maps, just the whole style of the game is just interesting, and it's a lot of fun to play online, and I really dig it. So Splatoon is my top choice for Wii U. So with that brings us to our overall choices. So all of us basically picked our top 3 overall Nintendo games for the year. And then what we did is essentially I took everybody's top 3 choices, and everybody's number 3 choice was 1 point, worth 1 point. Their number 2 choice was worth 2 points, and their top choice was worth 3 points. And I totaled up the points and crowned kind of our game of the year, which we'll get to in a bit. But first, let's kind of go through our top 3 choices based on everything that we've discussed so far. So your number 3 overall game, Steve, is...
Might sound familiar. Xenoblade Chronicles X is my number 3 overall. Yeah.
All right. Number 3 for Greg is...
I said Binding of Isaac.
Okay. Barry, what's your number 3?
Before I say it, I do want to say one quick thing. 2 years ago, my top 3 overall were the exact top 3 for this site. I predicted it perfectly. Last year, I was off a little bit. This year, I don't think I'm anywhere close.
I will say this. One person here, I'm not going to say who, one person here got the top 3 overall for NintendoFuse, and their top 3 matches it perfectly. I'm not going to say
not
who.
Not me. I know it's not me, but my number 3 is Super Mario Maker.
Okay. My number 3, kind of by default almost, this is really sad, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer.
Oh my God.
So
how did that end?
There wasn't much that I really played, and I just kind of, yeah. Gotta have the Animal Crossing love in there somewhere.
Quickly, I'm going to send you money. You're going to download Adventures of Pip, and you're going to play that, and then you're going to put that on your list. That should
Happy
matter.
Home
There we
Designer
go.
was retail.
Actually, now that I think about it, I probably could have just put Kirby and the Rainbow Curse or something instead. I
Oh,
didn't- I
by
don't
all
know my
means,
top
that's
three.
better.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
swap that out. I'm just gonna make that change right now on the fly.
Ooh.
Kirby and the Rainbow
All right.
Curse, number 3. Clearly, that's not getting any points, though, as you can tell. Nobody else picked Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. So
To go back and annotate this video and say, at this point, skip ahead for 15 seconds. You don't want to hear the next thing.
We're just gonna say Hassan has been vacationing in the Amazon and has caught some kind of weird flu that's made him delusional. That's
There
our
we
story.
go.
We're sticking to it.
Perfect. All right, so on to our number 2 choices. Steve, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is Splatoon.
Splatoon. All right, Greg, what's your number 2?
I said the Majora's Mask 3D.
All right, Barry.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
All right, and my number 2 was Super Mario Maker. So that brings us all to our top choices. Steve.
Well, as you can tell, right now I've just been working down my Wii U list of retail, and therefore my number 1 is Super Mario Maker, to capture like the rest of my Wii U list. My overall were my top 3 Wii U games. So Super Mario Maker for number 1.
I think Steve's the one who got it.
We'll see. Greg, what's your?
Well, it's definitely not Happy Home Designer on there.
I actually said Super Mario Maker. That was my best experiences I've had this year.
All right, Barry.
Xenoblade Chronicles X. Big surprise.
And my top choice was Splatoon. So, tallying up all the points here, the number 3 overall NintendoFuse game, number 3, with 4 points, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
So is Steve. You lucky bastard.
So that means number 2 with 5 points was Splatoon, and then number 1 with 9 points, our NintendoFuse 2015 Game of the Year, Super Mario Maker. So there we go.
Is it a coincidence that it's also the only Nintendo game that was on the Game of the Year for the nominations for the Game Awards?
For Game of the Year.
You know, it's actually Super Mario Maker is also the only game that all 4 of us picked on our top 3 lists as well, which I guess makes sense as to why I won. But at least it's the so definitely pretty popular amongst the NintendoFuse crew. Super Mario Maker definitely. Mike in the chat as well said his top 3 in order from first to last are Guitar Hero Live, Splatoon, and Mario Maker. So very similar to me, except he picked Guitar Hero Live over Animal Crossing.
He's been playing it a lot. He loves Guitar Hero Live. Like, I kind of want to get it just because he's been talking about it a lot and plays it like all the time. So I don't know if it wasn't that huge investment in brand new guitars, I can't use my old ones. Then I would be jumping on it a lot earlier than this. But if only I could use my old ones.
Well, the new guitars are completely different. That's why they're like
I
completely.
know, but it's still more money.
I know. Don't you know I have enough
I
guitars?
understand why it's more. I just wish it wasn't.
Well,
Right.
they should do a guitar trade-in depot. Trade in an old guitar for a new guitar.
Like, I thought, like, in my mind though, like, I was thinking like, well, I wish I would have gotten into Rock Band because the new Rock Band uses the old equipment. And, like, that would have been easier for me to make that changeover. I guess I could use my Guitar Hero guitars in the new Rock Band, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked Rock Band better than Guitar Hero in the older ones, but my wife fell in love with the new Guitar Hero, so it's like, all right, you make the decision for me.
Yeah. Well, folks, so Super Mario Maker is our game of the year. So if you haven't played it, you know, obviously, you need to go play it. There's a million reasons why it's worth trying out. It's definitely a great game. So this holiday season, if you don't have it, put it on your Christmas list. Put it on your wish list. It's definitely a good game to have. And if you already do have it, well, we have plenty of other great suggestions, as you've heard from many people. I have my own list that I need to have to put together now of games to go buy. But that is our best of 2015.
Does your list include?
Yes, that is my top choice on my list right here.
It includes Happy Home Designer again.
I'm gonna go trade in Happy Home Designer and then get the.
Don't feel bad. I have Happy Home Designer too. My wife actually likes Happy Home Designer, so I'm not gonna knock it too much. She likes it.
Your wife and
like I said, there are some interesting pieces of it that it introduced to the Animal Crossing series. I'm just still like upset that we don't have another full new Animal Crossing game, but that's a whole different topic right there. But anyways, that's our best of 2015, guys. So we'll be back maybe at this point in the new year, probably. So hope you all have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll be back in 2016 to talk NX, new Amiibo and whatever else comes down the road. Plus, whatever news comes from the Smash Brothers. Yeah, Smash Brothers broadcast soon as well. So hope you all have a great holiday.
Others, not just Christmas. Happy Hanukkah's going on, and Happy Kwanzaa, and you gotta be politically correct here, man. Some of us celebrate
Happy holidays to everyone.
You don't want Trump on you.
No, I mean, I don't celebrate Christmas either. So, but hey, it's for most people, it's a day off to play games. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, enjoy the day off, play some video games, have fun. That's probably what I'm gonna do. So it'll be great.
You have a lot of games to catch up on too.
Yes, exactly. Definitely.
He's just gonna be playing Happy Home Designer all day long.
True, he is.
Amiibo Festival.
He's gonna build himself a happy home to play Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival in.
Hey, I still need to collect all the rest of the cards too, so that for sure I will be doing. Yeah, that's true.
Starting his PlayStation podcast.
Wave 2 comes out in January. Get that wallet ready, Hassan. We gotta buy a lot of cards.
The stress is killing me. I haven't even completed Wave 1. It's killing me. I bought so many booster packs too, so many, and I still don't have all of Wave 1. Oh my goodness. It's a mess, but anyways, thank you all so much for listening and watching. As always, happy holidays to everyone, and we'll see you next year. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Have a good one. Happy holidays.
Yeah.